Over the past 6 months, I've been doing a lot of research into what may very well be my next potential car. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what my 3 top prime picks are and really the segment that I'm looking at. And that segment is the hot hatch segment. Now, there's a couple reasons why I've actually chosen this segment, and the first one being is the practicality. Now, I'm not always driving with friends and family in the car, but every now and then I do. So I really would like the ability to do so, and hot hatches give you that ability because usually they come in 4 seats, usually 4 doors as well, but at least that I know of. But either way, you do have that practicality, and on top of it, hot hatches do have a good amount of trunk space. In fact, they have near CUV levels of trunk space most of the time, or a little bit more than a compact sedan. Reason 2 is that hot hatches are called hot for a reason. So when you get a hot hatch, not only is it going to be comfortable to drive and practical, but it's also going to be more engaging than your regular A to B commuter car and offer more of a fun factor than, say a Mazda 3. And reason 3 is that they usually do reason 1 and 2 at a more affordable price. Now, I am aware that not every hot hatch is quote-unquote affordable. Things like the A45 AMG and Golf R are pushing my budget of $35,000. So I've taken the time to really boil down 3 cars that are good for me, that are within my price point, and they're all fairly similar, at least in specs wise. And those 3 cars are the Volkswagen Golf GTI, the Hyundai Veloster N, and the Honda Civic Type R. Now, all of these cars are available in a manual transmission. They all have a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. They're all front-wheel drive, and they're all within my price point, except that maybe the Civic Type R and certain trims of the GTI might be pushing that $35,000 mark. But for the sake of this video, I'm gonna say that they're not too far out of my budget where I wouldn't consider it. So they're all healthy contenders. So let's talk about my first car that I've considered, and that is the Volkswagen GTI. Now, it is the slowest of the bunch. It makes 220 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque, which is not crazy slow, but it's just so happens to be the slowest of the 3 that I've chosen. But it's still a fantastic car. It's reliable, it's comfortable, it's sporty when you need it to be, and it's just premium, it's refined. Volkswagen has been making this car since 1975 with the Mark I, and so they've had a lot of effort, especially with the Mark 7.5 release, and it's a mid-cycle refresh that I'm looking at. But it's a great car. It's basically the benchmark when it comes to hot hatches because it drives really well, comfort-wise in traffic, and it also lets you have some fun. Now, the GTI comes in 4 trims as of this moment: the S, the Rabbit Edition, the SE, and the Autobahn. The S starts at about $27,500, and the Autobahn starts at around $35,000. So that's what I meant about earlier, that some of the trims with the GTI might be pushing it, because $35,000, you can add a couple specs like paint, and I'm not exactly sure what else you can add to the GTI, to be honest with you, but I'm sure you can end up with $37,000 to $38,000 worth of car fully spec'd out. But I know that the GTI is an all-around fantastic hatch, and it's definitely gonna make it into this consideration because certain trims definitely make it into my price bracket, and at the same time there's basically a cult-like following behind these things for a reason. They drive really good, they're reliable like I said, and you can do a lot of things to them in the aftermarkets. So my next car for consideration is the Hyundai Veloster N. Now, for this list, it is pretty much the middle ground car, making 275 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. So it's definitely a healthy amount for a little car like this, but on top of it, it's pretty much the best bang for the buck, because on top of that, horsepower figure, you get things like an LSD, you get an active suspension or customizable suspension, you get F1 inspired brake lights, standard shift lights, blue seat belts, which in Porsches is going to be an option, right? It's going to be an expensive option at that. And you get an active exhaust, which honestly is the best sounding exhaust on this list. Let's take a listen. so that exhaust sounds really good, especially to me. I love all the pops and everything, and I could really see myself hooning around in tunnels with something like that. So this is the first time that Hyundai is bringing an N to the United States. Now, if you don't know what N is, it's pretty much what AMG is to Mercedes, or BMW's M division is to them, or say Alfa Romeo's Quadrifoglio. It's pretty much performance division, and it's brand new to the Hyundai, Kia lineup, all that stuff. Albert Bimmerman himself is the head of Hyundai's N division. Now, if you don't know who that is, he used to actually work for BMW's M division. So he knows a thing about fun and agility when it comes to cars. And he even quoted himself that the Hyundai Veloster N is focused on heartbeats per minute.
So you heard about the heartbeat per minute. That's our N philosophy, our N vision.
Which is basically not really the fastest track times like other cars, but more about fun. It's how you feel behind the wheel of this car, which I'm all about. Even though I like speed as well, I really like to have fun in my car. So this definitely seems like the best bang for the buck, but is it the best car? Maybe, maybe not. On to the next list, which arguably is the better or best car on this list, and that is the Honda Civic Type R. Now this car makes 306 horsepower, 295 foot-pounds of torque, so it's plenty quick, and in fact it's broken some records around the Nürburgring for the fastest front-wheel drive car available at this point in time. It's a pretty big deal. Now, the Type R lineage is not new, and it's actually been around for quite some time with about 5 or 6 other models. I'm not exactly sure, but there's already been quite a few other Type Rs. The Type R has been available across the pond for quite some time, but it's a big deal for us in the USA because this new Type R or FK8 model is brand new for us, and it's the first time that us here in the US get it. So it definitely made waves as well when it first came out, and it's still making waves because it's a performance monster. It also has basically all the technology that the Veloster N has, plus a little bit more. The Type R starts at $25,000 roughly and can get up to around 26 and some change with destination charges and all that. But it has things like Brembo brakes. It has body components that produce actual downforce. It has VTEC. And let me tell you, it has a gigantic trunk, okay? Because I should know this because I have a Honda Civic hatchback, which is pretty much the same amount of space, and it is huge. It is so much space and so practical. I'm pretty sure it's the biggest trunk in the segment, which is a definite plus. So it's definitely a really tough contender. It's the fastest one around the track. It's also daily drivable, and you know, it just has a lot of technology behind it and what makes it a Type R, and it's really cool for the money. So those are my top 3 choices for my next car. And you know, honestly, I feel like every single car has their own different taste, and it's really just gonna be about which taste suits me best. So if it were you, which one would you choose of these 3? The N, the GTI, or the Civic Type R? Let me know in the comments below, or you can actually look at the top right-hand corner of the screen where I'll have a voting poll, and you can choose your option from there. It's a nifty little thing, never done it before until today actually. I feel like I'm leaning more towards the Veloster N because not only is it the most affordable of the bunch, but it seems like to be the best bang for the buck and the most fun and the best sounding, and I'm a big auditory guy when it comes to cars, so it's a pretty big deal that a car sounds like that stock. Hopefully you found all this information informative, and maybe even consider one of these cars as your next cars if you're looking into this segment. Now hit that like button and subscribe button because it actually might help me with the insurance on my next car. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.